family, horse, 5, put in the heart. Do your part. The American Christian rock band from Atlanta, live at Effingham Performance Center, Sunday, October 8th. Rockin', raucous, faithful. Over a decade, 5 studio albums and 9 EPs, and the stage show incredible. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com/EPC 800-745-3000 or the box office. October 8th, your entertainment destination.
Real Life Radio, 90.9 The Vine.
90.9 The Vine, in conjunction with AreaSports.net, proudly presents The Sports Couch. The Sports Couch is the area's only locally produced weekly sports show that is live on FM radio and also streamed live on both of our websites at AreaSports.net and WVYN.org. Who will be on the couch this morning? Let's find out. The Sports Couch is on the air right now. Well, good morning again, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Couch here live on the radio and also live with video streaming on AreaSports.net. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio and flying solo today as Danny is out trying to get as much of that harvesting done as he can before the remnants of the hurricane work their way up towards southern Illinois. So he's not with me in studio today, but he's probably listening while he's on that combine this morning. I imagine so. We've got a lot to get to this morning. Lots of great football games around the area last night. We're going to visit with several coaches. We're going to have Justin Townsend of the Fairfield Mules on with us. We're going to have Coach John Shadowens of the Cesar-Valliere, Woodlawn, Waltonville Red Devils on with us as well. They are now 3-0 on the season, as are the Mules. So those two teams sit atop the Black Diamond Conference. We'll also get the other side of what happened in that game last night between Cesar-Valliere and El Dorado as we visit with Coach Joe Clark of the El Dorado Eagles a little bit later on. We will talk to Coach Mark Goodheart of the Mount Vernon Rams about their first ever game played last night at the new Ken Hunt Stadium. We'll talk to Coach Goodheart about that and about the tremendous effort that his team put up last week on the road up at Champaign-Urbana, where they took on Woodstock, a team from northern Illinois, on a neutral field last Saturday. That game went into double overtime, so we'll talk to him about that game as well as last night's game, as well as all the activities surrounding the new stadium last night. We'll also put some graphics up on the screen for you, of course, and some photos for those of you who are watching our live video stream at AreaSports.net. In fact, we'll have some photos from the action last night at the new Ken Hunt Stadium, including I'll put a photo up on the screen of the two Hunt brothers, the sons of Ken Hunt, who was there last night. The sons were. And we'll actually hear from Ken Hunt himself this morning, too, here on the Sports Couch, as he, of course, was inducted into the Mount Vernon High School Sports Hall of Fame in this most recent class. And we'll tell you more about Ken Hunt later on in the show. For those of you who don't know maybe as much about his background, not only in football but also in the business world, we'll talk about that and hear from Ken himself. As we've had a chance to talk to him this week, as well as we'll play you a recording from the Hall of Fame banquet as well. We'll also visit with Coach Brian Tackitt of the Flora Wolves. They got a win last night to improve to 2-1 on the season. We'll also ask Coach Tackitt about the controversy going on at Flora after an event took place in a junior football league game. Now, that's not something that he coaches. All right, he's not directly involved in that, but I'm sure he'll weigh in on that and share some comments on that this morning. We will ask him about that. So stay tuned for that. We're also going to talk some cross-country this morning with Sam Wilson of the Hamilton County Foxes. They're having a very successful cross-country season so far and got big numbers out this year for both the boys and the girls down at the Foxes and Lady Foxes. So we'll talk to him about that. So a lot coming up on the show here this morning. And just to run through some scores last night real quick on the scoreboard in the Black Diamond Conference last night, it was Carmi over Edwards County 52-21. Chester defeated Hamilton County 41-22. Fairfield beat Christopher 60-0. Cesar-Valliere, the seemingly upset of the night, but maybe it's not an upset. Maybe Cesar-Valliere is really better than what everybody thought. They're certainly 3-0 right now and have played a tough schedule so far. The Red Devils defeat El Dorado last night 22-14, and Cesar never trailed in that game. Johnson City will play at Vienna today in the Black Diamond Conference. Lowell Illini Conference last night. Flora beats Casey Westfield 34-7. Red Hill over Paris 32-14. Newton beat Lawrenceville 49-21. And Marshall over Robinson 39-7. In the Apollo Conference last night, Effingham a win on the road at Mount Zion, 37-19. Mattoon beat Lincoln 34-27. Taylorville over Charleston, 55-20. In the Cahokia Conference last night, it was Bree Central over Freeburg, 42-27. They came from behind to win that one. Carlisle comes from behind to beat Redbud, 36-33, and Columbia all over Salem last night, 54-15. Non-conference action last night, as we mentioned, Mount Vernon played at Triad last night. First home game in the new stadium last night for the Rams. They lost to Triad 55-7. Meanwhile, it was Cahokia plays today, I should say, against St. Louis Gateway. Belleville-Altoff remains undefeated. They go 3-0 after beating Breeze Mater Dei last night. They shut out the Knights 33-0. That Belleville-Altoff squad's pretty tough. Centralia and Jerseyville, a shootout last night. Listen to this, 56-52 the final on that one. The Orphans defeat the Panthers in that one. Anna Jonesboro over Massac County 40-7. It was Highland over Marion 45-27. DuQuoin beat Heron 21-17. Harrisburg over Boonville, Indiana 21-14. Benton all over Pinckneyville last night 41-0. The Rangers have got it going on. It was Waterloo defeating Carbondale in a good game 25-19. West Frankfort over Sparta 33-16, and Trenton Westland over Nashville 25-14. You can see all those scores, by the way, on our sports website at AreaSports.net. Well, when we come back, we are going to be visiting with our first coach of the morning, and that will be Coach Justin Townsend of the Fairfield Mules. We'll talk about their win last night, as they're now 3-0. We'll be right back.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Nothing makes a tough outdoor job easy like the legendary power and performance of Yanmar compact tractors. Hi, I'm Jerome from Main Street Shop Fairfield, and I'm here to talk about the legendary reliability of Yanmar equipment. A particular note is the superb Yanmar diesel engine. Over 100 years of development is built into that power plant, smooth and dependable. Directional change is made simple using the twin pedal hydrostat. Push one pedal to go forward and the other one for reverse. Simple. Just stop in Main Street Shop Fairfield for a test ride, and we'll give you a free hat just for trying one.
Fairfield Memorial Hospital's Diabetes Education Program leads a diabetes support group on the first Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. in the Fairfield Memorial Hospital Medical Arts Complex Community Education Room. It is a great way to stay up to date on the latest diabetes news and talk with people who you would relate with. So join other people with diabetes in taking the proper steps in managing the disease. To learn more, contact me, Mary McCulley, registered nurse and Fairfield Memorial Hospital's certified diabetes educator at 847-8231.
You've heard the old saying, practice makes perfect. Well, there's actually a lot of truth to that, and you can get one-on-one instruction in baseball, softball, basketball, as well as speed and agility drills at the Sports Zone in Fairfield. The Sports Zone has been in business for quite some time now and has helped many area boy and girl athletes excel in their sport of choice. Lessons and practice times are available at convenient times that meet your schedule. The Sports Zone is located on Delaware Street in Fairfield, and we appreciate their support. Welcome back to the Sports Couch. You're live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. Live video streaming at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio. Danny is out doing the harvest this morning, so we're alone in the studio here this morning. And big win last night for the Fairfield Mules. They improved to 3-0 on the season as they defeat CZR last night at the train yard by a score of 60-0. Coach Justin Townsend joins us on the phone right now. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing good, guys.
Good. Well, I guess you were heavy favorites coming into the game last night, so I guess the score really shouldn't surprise anyone. But again, that defense really flexed its muscle, and that Mules defense is really tough to score against this year.
Yeah, we got really back to what we wanted to do. Coming off Chester, who was able to move the ball a little bit on us. CZR did come out and do some things in the passing game. We shut down the run game pretty early, and they did some different things in the passing game. Maybe a little bit, different. Where Chester was trying to throw the ball downfield, they were doing a lot of bubble screens and things like that. And, took a little bit for our kids to adjust, but we were able to maintain the shutout and. had 2 interception returns for touchdowns, so that was exciting for our defense. And I got to play a lot of guys. And, CZR is a little undermanned this year. I think they only have 3 seniors on the roster. So a lot of sophomores and juniors out there playing. And, their kids played hard till the final buzzer. And I was just pleased, though, with our kids, the way they responded. And, home opener had a huge crowd, and we wanted to come out and perform well, and I feel like we did that.
Well, that's great. And in a game like that last night, again, you do get to play virtually everyone, and so that's some good experience for your players. You get a chance to look at them in a game-type situation.
Yeah, we played everybody we had dressed, and they played a lot. We had subs in by about midway through the second quarter, which it's great for those kids. But at the same time, a lot of times, you want to be able to get your number one some reps. You feel like it's, game reps are so much different than practice reps, so you only want to maintain being crisp. But, like I said, it was good for everybody. For Fairfield, we were able to play everybody. We, had an offensive, defensive unit, and those kids got a lot of reps and great varsity experience, which, that'll help us down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week you go on the road at Hamilton County as you take that 3-0 record down there against the Foxes. And, again, Jeff Rush is back as the head coach this year, and, he's always got a lot of different things in his playbook.
Yeah, I've heard, I haven't seen film on them yet. We're going to exchange later this afternoon. In the past, he was kind of the guy that brought the shotgun to the Black Diamond, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
And they like to throw it around, and they had some pretty talented kids. So I've heard some different things about what they're doing now. We're definitely going to have to be ready. I think they have 10 or 11 seniors, and I'm sure they'd like nothing better than to knock off Fairfield. So it's just real important for us. We talked about it going into this week, and last week it's kind of been the same approach that we want to get better each and every day. We step out on that practice field, and we want to clean up some things, and we want to be playing our best football, right now. That's our goal. So that's what we're going to work towards.
Well, the Foxes put 22 points up against Chester last night, so that tells you that they can move the ball and they can put it in the end zone.
Yeah, they had some success. I'll be anxious to watch that film. I know, they've kind of been dabbling a little bit in what we do, the Foxes, as far as double wing and power game and things like that. And we obviously had a lot of success against Chester doing that. So it'd be kind of interesting if they kind of took the same approach. On the flip side, not really surprised with Chester putting up that amount of points. They're pretty explosive, and they're going to beat some teams, I think, down the stretch here. I think they may end up surprising some people.
Well, let's look at some other scores around the Black Diamond last night, and the big one that everybody's talking about this morning is Cesar beating El Dorado last night, 22-14, and holding Traxler to 75 yards.
That's, the outcome of the game to me is not surprising. I thought it could go either way, but kind of what you just said, the surprising part is holding Traxler to 75 yards, because that guy is a legit D1, obviously. He's already verbal, but he's a man back there in the backfield. And I think what everybody felt about Setzer going in was that they were going to be pretty good offensively. I think they're surprising some people with their defense. They're obviously very, very good defensively. So, we don't play them until week 9. But the thing with them is they've already beat Carmine, they've already beat El Dorado. So they have to feel pretty good about things right now. And I think it helped. That game was played at Cesar, so that's a tough place to play. So good win for Coach Shadowens, so definitely.
Yeah, it was, and we'll have him on the show a little bit later on this morning. But I noticed that Cesar scored really 3 different ways last night too. They scored with their running back, they scored with their quarterback keeper, and they scored from the air. So they put it in there 3 different ways.
Like I said, they're very balanced. And that's going to be a tough one, week 9 for us, definitely.
And then Carmi over Edwards County last night, 52-21. Carmi is putting it together and really starting to score in bunches now.
Yeah, I thought it would just be a matter of time before they kind of figured some things out. and obviously that week 1 loss to Cesar isn't looking near as bad now, is it?
No,
you know what I mean?
Right.
I think people are probably going to start to think, and with good reason, maybe Cesar's one of the favorites in the conference. So, Carmi probably learned a lot about themselves after week 1. When you play in a game like that, made some adjustments, and I thought that game might be a little closer than that. I thought Carmi would probably win, but I don't know anything that I don't know the story behind the game, but I do know that Carmi's the type of team that when they have a game like they did week 1, they're going to come back with a fury the next couple of weeks because they're going to have things figured out and go from there. So when we play them week 5, that's going to be a big game in the middle of the season. I'm sure they'll be playing their best football.
Mm-hmm. Everybody come out of the game healthy last night for your Mules?
Yeah, everybody's healthy. Honestly, we were a little banged up after week 2. So we kind of took advantage of Labor Day weekend. Didn't practice till late Monday. Scaled things back a little bit this week just to try to get our legs back. We ran 2-a-days for 10 days this week or this year. So I don't know, as a coach, I don't know if our kids' legs fully responded. But last night we looked fresh, and I think that really paid off for us. We looked healthy, and we're going to kind of get back to our grind that we usually do. But it was a good week for us, and you never know how your kids are going to respond to that.
Right.
You hope that they still come out and play Friday, with intensity, and they fly around, even though maybe you scaled some of the contact back in the week, and they definitely did that. They responded well and played well on defense. We blocked well at the point of attack. We really challenged them. This week we want to finish blocks, we want to finish tackles, play to the whistle, and our kids did that.
All right. Well, again, congratulations on the win, Coach. 60-0 last night over CZR, and improving to 3-0 on the season. And best of luck as you prepare for Hamilton County next week. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye. That is head coach Justin Townsend. His Mules are now 3-0 on the season with wins over Johnson City, Chester, and CZR, and they will go on the road at Hamilton County, and McLeansboro will take on the Foxes next week. Well, when we come back, we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about the South 7 Conference. A non-conference game last night for the Mount Vernon Rams, the first game in the new Ken Hunt Stadium. We'll talk to Coach Mark Goodheart all about that coming up next. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Are you going out of town for a vacation or a weekend getaway? What are you going to do with your dog? That's easy. There's Jaggers Doggy Daycare in Mount Vernon. Jaggers Doggy Daycare is your one-stop shop for overnight dog boarding, doggy daycare, as well as dog grooming and obedience dog training. It's your dog's home away from home, and they will thrive, and they'll get one-on-one attention by a great staff. More information is available on the web at jaggersdoggydaycare.com. Jaggers Doggy Daycare, 414 Main Street in Mount Vernon.
105.5 and 90.9 The Vine is proud to partner with Mount Vernon's newest family eatery, La Fiesta Mexican Restaurant. La Fiesta offers a family-friendly, Christian-owned, alcohol-free environment the whole family will enjoy. Located at 901 Prairie Avenue in Mount Vernon, La Fiesta offers daily specials that are easy on the family wallet. And children 5 and under eat free on Sundays. Their hours are 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. La Fiesta Mexican Restaurant in Mount Vernon, a proud underwriter on Real Life Radio.
Roadhouse Harley-Davidson is putting Mount Vernon, Illinois back on the map. At Roadhouse Harley-Davidson, we look forward to meeting each unique customer and welcome all motorcycle enthusiasts. We have it all from new and used bike inventory, motor clothes, parts, and a service department that is second to none. Roadhouse Harley-Davidson is the newest full-service Harley-Davidson dealer in the nation, located right off Interstate 57 in Mount Vernon, Illinois. Open 7 days a week. Rest your boots and your bike at Roadhouse. Welcome back to the Sports Couch. You're live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. Live video streaming right now at AreaSports.net. Live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio. Danny is out working on the harvest today, trying to get as much of that corn in before the remnants of the hurricane works its way up to southern Illinois, so he's not with us this morning. But we're going to move on here as we talk about the Mount Vernon Rams and their very first game in the new Ken Hunt Stadium last night on the campus of the new Mount Vernon Township High School. Coach Mark Goodheart of the Rams joins us right now. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning, Randy. Good. How you doing?
Great. Good to have you on the show, and a very special evening last night for everyone in Mount Vernon. Unfortunately, the game didn't go the way we all wanted it to, but it was a festive atmosphere, and it was great to see so many people turn out for the very first game to be played there at the new Ken Hunt Stadium.
Yeah, it was a fantastic evening. You know, it's awesome to see that many people in the stands. Cheerleaders were awesome as usual. A great crowd, band. So definitely had that football flair, and that's good to see at our home turf. Last year we were at our old field, and it's good to finally get settled in. But, hey, it was a rough night for the Rams, but, hey, we'll keep trying.
Well, you faced a Triad Knights team last night that's 3-0 now, and they're gonna beat up a lot of people this year. I mean, that's just a good football program over there, and they got some great athletes.
Oh, definitely. Coach Bachelor does a great job with those kids. Anytime you see that bus pull up, and the number of kids that get off that bus is always impressive. And, that style of offense is tough to defend. Hey, Triad's going to be a powerhouse this year. I mean, like, as usual, they are in that conference. And, shutting out Breeze last night and, 2 weeks ago, then last night they thumped us pretty well. It's just tough with that style of offense, that triple option. Boys, it'll sting you if you're not ready.
Right, exactly. Well, let's back up a little bit and talk about your game last Saturday, Coach, because you made a long bus ride up to Champaign-Urbana on a neutral field to take on a team from extreme northern Illinois, Woodstock, and wow, what a football game that was. It goes to double overtime, and you fall in double overtime to Woodstock, but boy, you were right there at the doorstep and had a chance to win it, and you got to be proud of your kids.
Hey, I am so proud of those guys. It was a kind of a new experience for some of the kids that got to ride in a charter bus for some of first time if forever, and seeing those kids light up just on that aspect alone. But that was a tough game. They fought hard for 48 plus minutes, which sent it back into overtime once and then again. We're 97 yards at the end of the game. We traveled 97 yards in 2 minutes and, take that sucker into overtime. I'm so proud of my guys for doing that. And, it's just one of those things,
Mm-hmm.
Your card may be called 1 week and the next week, man, you just may get hit hard, which the Rams were last night.
Mm-hmm. Well, for those people who aren't familiar with how it played out last Saturday afternoon, or last Saturday evening, I should say, up at Urbana, the game went into overtime 20-20. You scored first in the first overtime to go up 28-20. You got that 2-point conversion. You're up 28-20. They come back, and they score to make it 28-26. And really, at that point, it came down to a 2-point conversion. And if you hold them there on that 2-point conversion, the Rams win. Unfortunately, Woodstock was able to run a sweep and was able to get it in there and tie it and send it to the second overtime. And then in that second overtime, they scored and the Rams didn't, and so Woodstock won the game. But, you can't get any closer than that. You're right there with a chance to win it on the 2-point conversion, but unfortunately, they just found a way to sneak it in.
Yeah, in the regulation time, going 97 yards, you've got a minute or so, seconds on the clock, and then we have a chance, hit that extra point to win the game. Hopefully as time running out, but they sent in their big hosses and got a hand on the ball on that extra point, and it's tough.
Yeah.
But bright spots are, our guys worked hard the entire time. Last year at this point, anytime we have a little adversity, our heads would hang, and I didn't even see that last night. Our kids fought, even when we're down 50. Had a running clock starting the second half, and our kids were still fighting. Our starters were disappointed when we took them out of the game, when Triad kind of started subbing in, and our kids want to fight, and I'm appreciative of that alone.
Well, I think they were playing off the energy of the home crowd last night too, with the new stadium opening and that sort of thing. I think they were playing off them, and even though they were maybe outmatched athletically last night by Triad, they were still fighting hard.
Yes, and outmatched. Yeah, I think we were. However, Rams kind of have a tradition that, even though we're outmatched, we're going to throw a ball down and, let's play. We're going to draw a line in the sand, and best man wins. And I'll take the hit for not having my guys prepared. It was a short week, and anytime you have a Triad opponent running that triple option, the last thing you need is a short week. Whatever you choose in that triple option, whatever choice you make, Triad's gonna make it wrong, and they certainly showed us last night that we were a step late in some things, and they definitely took advantage.
Well, again, the very first game last night in the new Ken Hunt Stadium, and Ken Hunt's sons, Thomas and Todd, were both there last night. And for those people who are looking up, watching this broadcast right now with our live video stream on AreaSports.net, I've got a photo of Thomas and Todd up on the screen there in front of the grandstand with all the crowd there last night. And it was good to talk to those guys last night and reflect on the career that their father Ken had there at Mount Vernon. He went on and played at University of Miami, and of course has done some tremendous things in the business world, which is what allowed him to be able to be a benefactor to Mount Vernon High School and have his name on the stadium. But that was great, wasn't it?
Yes, just a fantastic opportunity to have those kind of people, from Mount Vernon, former athletes, contributing back to the school. I know on game night, my mind is elsewhere. It would have been nice to sit down and have a talk, with the family. Not only them, but the Shields. I played ball with Patrick Shields way back in the day, and I knew Dr. Shields, and just brought a lot of memories. Not only that, but the Ken Hunt, and it was a fantastic night. A fantastic night at the home field.
Yeah, it sure was. Well, it doesn't get any easier on your schedule, Mark, as you got to go on the road at Belleville-Althoff next week. And, of course, they're 3-0 on the season, and they're a buzzsaw themselves. And, of course, they put it on Breeze Mater Dei last night, shutting them out. And so, it doesn't get any easier, but still, that's why you play the game.
It is. South 7 is a tough conference. Breeze Mater Dei is a great ball club, and to be shut out by Althoff, that's kind of an indicator where Belleville's at, and and that's our schedule is not an easy one, but it's kind of you get a good read on how your team is based on how your first 3 weeks go, and we're sitting with a goose egg, but hey, we were close. We were close in a couple. I would say we were competitive, somewhat 2 out of 3. We just kind of let some things get away, hey, we're right now watching film. At the drawing board, coming up with a game plan to head to Althoff next Friday, and got to get the kids excited and ice these bumps and bruises and some tweaks that we have, and we'll be ready.
All right, Mark. Well, thanks so much for joining us this morning on the Sports Couch. I appreciate it, and we'll let you go so you can, again, continue to watch film and prepare for next week with Belleville-Althoff, and good luck with that, okay?
Hey, Randy, thank you. Thank you for everything that you do, man.
You bet.
I appreciate it.
All right, have a great weekend. Okay.
Yeah, sir.
Thanks. Bye-bye. That's Mark Goodheart, head football coach of the Mount Vernon Rams. Again, tough Triad team last night. They're at the new Ken Hunt Stadium as the Rams fall last night 55-7 to Triad. Triad now 3-0 on the season. And next week the Rams will go on the road at Belleville-Altoff. I mentioned that last night was the first game played in the new Ken Hunt Stadium. I am going to play you some audio from Ken Hunt a little bit later on in the show, okay, from the Hall of Fame banquet, and let you hear a little bit more about Ken and some of his background and that sort of thing. We'll talk about that and play some of that audio for you later on the show, so stay tuned for that. But when we come back, we want to find out about the details of that big game last night between Cesar-Valier and El Dorado. It was won by the Red Devils last night, and we will visit with Coach John Shadowens of Cesar-Valier coming up as the Sports Couch continues. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Accidents happen. It's part of life. But when an accident occurs with your car or truck, you can count on the professionals at Cesar Auto Body in Cesar. Whether you have a collision with a deer, a building, a parking post, or another vehicle, Cesar Auto Body in Cesar can restore your car or truck to look like nothing ever happened. That's why many people in Southern Illinois refer to Cesar Auto Body as the Collision Pros. We appreciate the underwriting support of Cesar Auto Body in Cesar.
Wouldn't it be great if we all had a friend or neighbor you really trusted, or to help assist you in managing your money? A helping hand to look out for your best interest? Well, you do. That's exactly who Community First Bank is. Chances are you've seen us at the ball fields, in church, or right next door. Friendly, local Jefferson County residents. From the smiling, helpful tellers all the way to our executive board. We're proud to call Jefferson County home. We're always here to help. Community First Bank. Local matters. Member FDIC.
This is your home for best Christian music.
WVYN, Blueford, Wayne City, Fairfield, Mount Vernon.
And now on Translator, W288CO Centralia, broadcasting at 105.5.
A service of Real Life Radio Foundation.
The best Christian music. 90.9 The Vine.
Most of us tend to take our printed materials for granted, but it's hard to imagine life today without print. Printing is communicating. Whether it's promotional, operational, or administrative, we're here to meet your printing needs. Peacock Print and Marketing has been serving the people in Southern Illinois since 1977. We're located at 1112 Jordan Street in Mount Vernon. Our phone number is 242-3157. Our website is peacockprinting.com. We believe in honoring God by serving our clients through print and marketing and helping them reach their full potential.
And welcome back to the Sports Couch. You're live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. Live video streaming right now at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio, and Danny is not with us today as he's trying to get as much of that harvest done as he can before the remnants of the hurricane work their way up here to Southern Illinois. So we'll fly solo here this morning, but that's all right. We're going to move on now with our next guest. And what a game last night between Cesar-Valier and El Dorado. I would love to have seen that game last night. Wow. That just was a battle, you can just tell. 22-14 is the final. The Red Devils win it. They never trailed in the game, though. But they do a great job of holding a Traxler to 75 yards. And Traxler, of course, the outstanding back for the El Dorado Eagles, is a legit Division I player, going to be going to SIU as he's verbally committed there. But what a great job by the Cesar-Valier defense last night. Let's find out more about it as we join right now head coach John Shadowens of the Red Devils. Good morning, John. How are you?
Good, Randy. Good morning.
Great, and congratulations on the win last night. A huge, huge win for your program. You're now 3-0, and you've done something that a lot of teams can't do, and that is shut down El Dorado and namely shut down Mr. Traxler.
That's slowed him down a little bit, didn't we?
You did.
75 yards, I think, is what he had. Couldn't ask any more of our defense. They trusted in the plan, and they believed in it, and they went out and executed it.
Boy, I'll tell you what, that's really something. I'm sure that's something that you probably emphasized all week in practice, I'm going to guess, right?
Yeah, I did. The emphasis all week in practice was do your own job. In other words, don't try to do too much somebody else's job. Don't be looking in the backfield and start guessing. Defend your gap, be physical, and that's what they did last night.
Well, and El Dorado's got more weapons besides just Traxler, but overall I think you held them to 145 yards of total offense. So to do that with that good El Dorado team is really doing something.
Well, we appreciate that compliment. If you'd have told me that they wouldn't have had 200 yards offense, I wouldn't have believed it. We thought we would need 4 touchdowns to win the game, but our defense had other things on their mind.
Mm-hmm. Last year, your team was 5-5 overall. Excuse me, as you did make the playoffs last year. And how many guys came back from that team last year that went 5-5?
Depending on what set we're using and what formation, we probably have 7 or 8 guys on the field usually at any time that were in the game last year.
Okay, all right. So you had some returnees, but not a huge amount. So really, you're getting a lot of great play from guys that didn't have as much experience, I guess, in the past. We're
getting some contributions from some sophomores that have been a pleasant surprise.
Mm-hmm. And I noticed too that last night in the game you were able to score offensively a couple of different ways. You were able to throw the ball some last night, as well as run the ball, as your quarterback Clayton Smith was able to hook up with Lucas Gunner, and then I think Smith scored himself on a quarterback keeper, didn't he not?
Yeah, he did. With a little quarterback counter we run. What I like about our offense this year is the balance we're able to keep it on Friday nights. We've got 3 kids we spread the ball around to in the backfield, and then Clayton and Lucas hook up every now and then, keep them honest.
Oh, yeah, and that's a good thing, is to keep them honest. And that's something that you've always been able to do in the past when you've had some good receivers and some good quarterbacks, is you keep them honest with your passing game, and that way they can't concentrate on one or the other. And apparently you're able to do that this year too, which is great. I know this is a co-op program, so how many athletes do you have on the team that are not from Cecil-Valier High School but are from Woodlawn Waltonville?
I believe program-wide, Randy, right now we have 15 kids that are Waltonville Woodlawn kids.
Well, that's great. That's great to have that mix in that, and that just adds to what you're able to do. Well, if you take a look at your schedule right now, you've got quality wins over Carmi, Edwards County, and El Dorado, so you're sitting atop the conference along with the Fairfield Mules at 3-0, but you got to feel really good at where you're at right now considering who you've played.
Yeah, well, 3-0 is as good as you can be, I guess, right now. We've won the 3 games that's been put in front of us, but we also know that all that assures us of is a 3-6 season, no worse than that. So, we got work to do.
Yeah, you got to get at least those 5 wins to get in the playoffs. Next week you'll go on the road at Johnston City. What concerns you the most about the Indians?
Well, I tell you what, they've had their way with us. The last 15 years, I think we've beaten them twice. So if that doesn't get your attention, nothing will. So I think that we'll be focused and have a good week of practice because of that. The kids want to beat Johnson City. That's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm. And of course, they've got a legitimate Division I player on their team too in that quarterback position, and so he'll be somebody else you'll have to try to contain, much like you did Traxler last night.
They sure do. Luca Galdoni beat us almost single-handedly last year. Not that the other kids weren't playing well as well, but Luca had a tremendous game against us last year. I think they beat us 28-22, and Luca scored 4 different ways last year. So yeah, he's D1.
Mm-hmm. Moving back to the game last night against El Dorado, you went into the locker room at halftime up 14-8. Tell us how you felt at that point and what you told the kids at halftime, and what was the mindset there at halftime?
We felt really, really good at halftime because the game had – rarely do you make a game plan and things go exactly like you tell the kids they're going to go. That doesn't happen very often at all, and the first half seemed to fall that way. And we had kind of shot ourselves in the foot with some untimely penalties in the first half. So we told the kids we knew that we had control of the game. At least we felt we did. No disrespect to El Dorado at all. They're a great program, great team. But we felt like last night was our night. We were playing pretty well, and things were going the way we wanted them to. We didn't make any adjustments other than to say keep on keeping on and trust the plan, and it worked out well for us.
Certainly did. Anything surprise you about the scores around the league last night? I mean, Fairfield winning 60-0 over CZR, Chester over Hamilton County 41-22, Carmi over Edwards County 52-21. Any of those scores surprise you, or about what you thought they would be?
Well, not any big surprises, but I am impressed with the way Chester can score, because now, we've seen the El Dorado defense up close. We were able to score 22 points, but so was Chester. I think Chester is people are sleeping on them a little bit because they started off with the two best teams in the league, supposedly, to start the year, and they got my attention with their offense.
Yeah, certainly. How'd you come out of the game last night health-wise? Everybody healthy after last night?
Yeah, as far as we know, sometimes you get some nasty surprises the next morning, but to my knowledge, we had some cramping last night, but as far as structural things, I think we're sound.
And I'm sure the hometown crowd was all over it last night. They probably loved it last night, didn't they?
Oh, they were revved up last night. The best crowd we've had at Cesar-Villiers since the playoff game in 2009 against Nashville.
Wow, no kidding. That's fantastic. That must have been just electric last night.
It really, really was. We usually do our pregame warm-up on the practice field after the band takes the game field. We didn't have room to do our special teams out there because they were parking cars on our practice field. The lot was already overflowed.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I'm sure El Dorado brought a crowd last night too, didn't they?
They sure did. But what a great turnaround that coaching staff did with that program to go from where they were to where they are now. And then their people get behind them, and football is very important in El Dorado.
Yeah, sure is. Well, John, again, congratulations on the win last night. A huge win for your program. Now 3-0 on the season as you beat El Dorado 22-14, and best of luck as you prepare for Johnson City next week. All right.
Thanks so much, Randy.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. That's Coach John Shadowens of the Cesar-Villiers Red Devils, as they have made everybody take notice that they are a force this year in the Black Diamond Conference. They and the Fairfield Mules sit atop the conference now at 3-0. The Mules have beaten Johnson City, Chester, and CZR. The Red Devils, they have beaten Carmi, Edwards County, and now El Dorado. So very, very interesting turn of events there. Still to come on the show, we will visit with Coach Joe Clark of the El Dorado Eagles to get the other side of what happened last night. We'll talk to him. We'll also talk to Coach Brian Tackitt of the Flora Wolves here in just a little bit about the Wolves' win last night. We'll also ask him about the controversy surrounding what happened with the Flora Junior High football program in a game against Mount Carmel here recently, too, that a lot of people have talked about, particularly on social media. We'll talk to Sam Wilson, the cross-country coach from Hamilton County, about how things are going for them right now. But right now we want to also talk a little bit more about Ken Hunt and the fact that the new stadium, the football stadium there at Mount Vernon, is named in his honor as the naming rights, and for good reason, okay? For those of you who don't know the story about Ken Hunt, Ken was a very successful football player, first of all, for the Mount Vernon Rams. He is a member of the Mount Vernon High School Sports Hall of Fame, but he went on to play college football at the University of Miami, the Miami Hurricane. Everybody knows about that storied program, right? So if you're good enough to play Division I college football at Miami, you know you're pretty darn good, okay? Not too many people around here go and play college football at Miami, but Ken Hunt did. He did get injured off the field while he was at Miami, but much to the credit of the University of Miami, they allowed him to keep his scholarship. He went on to get that undergraduate degree, got into the business world, eventually got a job with IBM, was very successful with IBM, eventually became CEO of a tech company, lost his job, was fired at age 40. I talked to him on Thursday this week, and we discussed this at length. And, you know, when you get fired, you lose a job at age 40, boy, you know, that's that's a tough deal. That's a wake-up call. Like, what are you going to do? Well, Ken Hunt did not feel sorry for himself. Ken decided to start his own tech company. And today, Ken Hunt is one of the worldwide leaders in all kinds of security aspects, as we're talking about internet security here. Cyber security is probably the best term for it. He has a company, Vasco, that he is the president CEO of, a founder of. He does business not only nationwide, but also in 22 different countries. All right. and really is the leader in that field. His company, Vasco, is traded on NASDAQ, as he took the company public, I believe, in 1997, I think it was. And it's just been wildly successful. And, due to the success that he's had in the business world and how he's doing financially, and the fact that he remembers his roots and still has, family and friends back here in the Mount Vernon area and knows where he got his start at and wants to give back to the community, he gave the Mount Vernon Township High School $250,000 to help them in naming rights, and they have put his name on the football stadium, hence the Ken Hunt Stadium. And last night was the very first football game to be played there at the new Ken Hunt Stadium. His sons, Thomas and Todd, were both there at the game last night, and had a chance to talk with them a little bit last night as well. And one of them lives in St. Louis, one of them lives in Chicago. But right now, I want to play for you some audio from Ken Hunt himself. Then this is from the Hall of Fame banquet that was held this past February at Mount Vernon Township High School. It was held in the new theater there. And this is Ken Hunt talking a little bit about the honor of being named to the Mount Vernon High School Sports Hall of Fame, and a little bit about his career to give some of you a background who may not be familiar with Ken Hunt. Here he is.
First, I'd like to say I'm in awe at being included with this elite group of athletes. It's really impressive looking back over time, reading the achievements that they've made and the recognition that they've given to our wonderful school. Secondly, I want to recognize my wife, Patty, son, Thomas and Todd, and Terry Sharp, my lifelong friend from when we used to play Cowboys and Indians in Westwood. So I moved to here from Harrisburg, Illinois, when I was in third grade. I was not that big a fellow. I remember in 8th grade I was on the basketball team, but I was about 5'5", and by the end of my freshman year I was 6 feet and getting bigger. So I was a very fortunate person. I was a very fortunate person that I had some athletic ability because my parents couldn't afford to send me to college. Luckily, I was able to, in my senior year, when I had some pretty good achievements, I was able to get a 8mm film from my game against Centralia. Back then, they didn't have videos and all that sort of thing. So we had this 8mm film that we borrowed from our arch enemies in Centralia, and somebody told the University of Illinois about this guy by the name of Kenny Hunt, and he's a pretty good football player. So I sent down the tape, or the film, I can't not say that, the film, and they looked at it, and I had a telephone conversation with them, and they gave me the scholarship. Sorry. All right. Can you hear that better? All right. Well, I'm not going to repeat all I said. Don't do that. So anyway, I was fortunate enough to get this scholarship. I was the first to get a undergraduate degree. I went on to get an MBA later on. I had a very good sophomore year at Miami, starting halfback. As you saw on the screen, I was honored as the outstanding player of the LSU Miami game, and we lost the game. So I was very, very proud of that. At the end of my sophomore year, I'm really feeling good now about playing professional football. I was same height, about 25 pounds bigger, and I was pretty fast, very strong, and so I'm ready to go play professional football. We have our spring practice every year, and that's where you form the team for the following fall season. And I went out on a day off, a Sunday day off, and we went to a gun range, which was basically a berm, a lake that had been bermed up, and people would go there and they would take target practice with low caliber guns, 22 rifles, pistols, and that sort of thing. Well, I pulled in. I was driving. I pulled into this area, and I had 3 of my fraternity brothers with me, and I noticed there was this big guy that would always lift weights with the football players. He was basically a groupie, and he wasn't the sharpest knife in the box, if you know what I mean, or the drawer. So he is shooting to a target, and he turns around, starts walking back towards the 4 of us, and his friend says, "Hey, John, don't you have another bullet in the gun?" And John says, "No, that was the last one." And from about 4 feet, he pulls back on the action with his finger on the trigger and shoots me just above the left ankle, right through the tibia. That was it. That my career was over, just that fast. So I give credit, and the only reason I tell this story is I owe the University of Miami a lot. I owe Mount Vernon Township High School a lot. And so the university let me keep my scholarship even though it was an off-the-field accident. They let me keep my scholarship. Years later, out of gratitude, and by the way, I improved my grades. I went to the dean's list. I was the student body president my senior year. So I had to turn my life around, and I did. I've been successful in business, and about 10 years ago, I went to the university. I said, "What can I do for you?" And they said, "Well, you could endow a scholarship." I said, "Well, how do you do that?" "Well, you give us a lot of money. But the good thing is you can name the scholarship." What did I name the scholarship? Any guesses? The Ken Hunt Running Back Scholarship. The first former athlete to do that, and I'm very, very proud of that. About 8 years ago, I did something called a foundation. I endowed a foundation, and the whole thing with the foundation is to contribute to educational and cancer research. So here I am, a very fortunate person, and very, very happy to be here, very happy to be back at my alma mater.
That is Ken Hunt, and that is audio taking from the Mount Vernon High School Sports Hall of Fame speech that he gave back in February when he was honored by the Hall of Fame. And again, he has given money to the Mount Vernon Township High School, and the football stadium is now named the Ken Hunt Stadium, and they had their first game played there last night. And again, his sons were on hand, Thomas and Todd. Ken himself was not able to be there last night as he and his wife already had previous plans to be in California and just could not make it back for that. But it was great to talk to him on the phone this past Thursday. I had a chance to chat with him for quite a while he was on his way to an airport to catch a flight. And just a down-to-earth guy, and really remembers exactly where he came from, and happy to give back to the community and the school where he played high school football in Mount Vernon. So great story there with Ken Hunt, and glad that he was able to share that with us. All right. When we come back, we are going to visit with Coach Brian Tackitt of the Floral Wolves. We'll talk about their win last night and more coming up. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Underwriting on the Vine is provided by B&C Bicycle Fitness in Mount Vernon. B&C Bicycle Fitness specializes in bikes for the beginning rider to the high-end racer and can equip you with a comfortable bike to enjoy a healthy, active lifestyle with family and friends. B&C Bicycle Fitness is a full-service bicycle shop and is located at 410 South 27th Street in Mount Vernon. Their phone number is 816-4077. B&C Bicycle Fitness in Mount Vernon, where the adventure begins.
Choosing a construction company is a big decision because many companies come and go. That's why Greenwald & Sons Construction is a name you can trust. With over 40 years of experience, Greenwald & Sons Construction in Wayne City and Mount Vernon specialize in residential and commercial construction, as well as remodeling. They'll be happy to talk to you about a church addition, business expansion, or new home construction. Greenwald & Sons Construction, the experts you can depend upon. Their number is 895-2044. And welcome back to the Sports Couch. You're live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. Live video streaming right now at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio. Going to talk about the Little Illini Conference right now, as the Flora Wolves last night got a home win on Dancy Field, as they took care of Casey Westfield last night, winning the game 34-7. That means the Wolves improved to 2-1 on the season right now. And joining us on the phone is the head coach of the Flora Wolves, and that is Brian Tackitt. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Randy.
Great to have you on the show. Congratulations on the win last night. Tell us about it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It was good to win on a Friday night. It always is good, and we were pretty much in control. I'd say most of the game. Thought we came out well, got a good score there in the first quarter, and Andrew Pierce with the rushing touchdown. And second quarter, we got a 70-yard pass from Dawson Goldstein to Dylan Bible, so we were up 14-0 going into half, but I don't think we executed real well. I know sometimes as a staff we're the biggest critics on our own kids, and we felt like we left some points out there. Came out in the second half, third quarter went by, and I didn't think anybody was going to score, and then we punched one in late, Andrew Pierce again with the run, and then Casey, who had ran most of the game, and that's what we saw in film, and then they come out and have a nice drive picking us apart in the secondary a little bit. So we went into the fourth quarter, and I have to say we were in control, but right there, that was kind of a iffy point for us. They cut the lead to 21-7 and had a lot of momentum going into the fourth quarter. But fourth quarter for us was probably our best quarter of the night. Our offense controlled the ball, kind of ate up clock, which was good for us. And Andrew Pierce got another rushing touchdown, his third of the game there. He ran for 158 yards last night. He was just a beast for us. And Dawson Goldstein added a rushing touchdown as well in the fourth quarter. And we got two big interceptions also in the fourth quarter that kind of took some of the air out of their sail and finished it off for a 34-7 win.
That's great. Well, the Flora Wolves have kind of had their way here in recent years with Casey Westfield, and of course that didn't used to be the way it was. Casey Westfield used to just beat up on everybody. I'm not sure what's happened with their football program up there. Are their numbers down, or what's going on?
Yeah, their numbers are down. Like I told their coach last night, though, they had some nice players. They had some guys that I would say, 5, 6, 7 years ago would still be big contributors for those teams, and they're really, really good. Their issue just is their depth, and they don't have a lot of help to go along with those 2, 3, maybe 4 good athletes that they have. And it's I was talking to someone earlier this week, a guy in town, and he said no one ever saw this coming. 5 years ago, Casey's perennial, not just a playoff team, a Final Four team, or Elite Eight at least.
Right.
He said, well, maybe that means even T-Town could one day lose in basketball. And I said, well, I don't know about that. But, you didn't see it coming, though, with Casey. And we just do what we do and, and take care of our own business. I hate it for them, and I'm sure one day they'll get that program back going again. I hear they got some good classes down there at the lower levels, and I'm sure they'll get back where they need to be. And it's tough for the kids that are there now. I'm sure they feel a lot of pressure from the vets and that type of thing. But I did see too last night they had one of their good linemen from years past, a McCown kid, that was coming back and was helping out and coaching. So getting some of those guys back in the program, that'll help them get where they need to be.
Well, and you wonder, too, if maybe down the road here with enrollments continuing to decline, if you won't see them, doing a little co-op with somebody like, I don't know, maybe Martinsville. Martinsville's pretty close to Casey, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's been some talk of that co-op the last few years, and I think it got pretty serious here this past winter and spring, and I don't think they could see eye to eye on some of the demands that, each of the schools wanted. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the thing that you forget about is that they're a 1A school. Their enrollments, not great. And for a lot of 1A schools, what they have out for football is probably maybe about the norm. But for them, having 28 kids is, a half or a third of what they used to have.
Right.
But yeah, you forget that they are a 1A school. They just played, above that for so long. But
yeah, they have.
Yeah, well, Martinsville Co-op could be something that I'd probably see happening in the near future for them.
Well, and Martinsville's a 1A club too, and last week Martinsville didn't even have a game. They had nobody on their schedule, nobody to play. So, if that continues to happen for Martinsville, they got to be thinking about consolidating or, going in co-op wise on football.
Yeah, I don't know how many kids Martinsville has this year. Last year, they were in the teens, I think, and that's that's kind of dicey. They're playing a 9-week varsity season with 15, 16 kids with injuries and everything that occur, and so yeah, I think down the line is probably best thing for both programs.
Yeah. Well, of course, you're the varsity coach there of the Flora Wolves and have been now for a few years. But I got to ask you a question about the Junior Football League program up there at Flora. This past week there was a controversial play involving the Flora Junior Football League team in a game against Mount Carmel where a Flora player came across the line prior to the snap and hit a Mount Carmel player and injured him pretty good. I'll just allow you to comment on that and what we know about the situation.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, our thoughts and prayers continue to go out to the young man and the family there at Mount Carmel. That was, regardless of how the situation got to where it was at, that was what occurred, and I reached out to the family this past week too to make sure they knew that it's something that family was on our thoughts and prayers throughout the course of the week. I wasn't down there at Mount Carmel last week. Sometimes I make those road trips if I can and try to watch our youth program as much as I can, but get busy during the course of our season. I didn't get down there to see it, so really all I've seen is the film and the tape that's been put out there on social media. And social media can be a great thing, and then social media can be kind of a bad thing at times too. But certainly, I wasn't there. I can't comment on any type of call that any of the coaches would have made or anything. But it was a situation that we hope as a program at that level that we can learn from and try to correct mistakes if there were mistakes that were made and make sure stuff like that doesn't ever happen again. Because first and foremost is it's a great game, and we want kids to love playing this game and be safe. And accidents do occur. We had a case last night in our game where a kid dislocated his elbow and had to be taken to St. Louis, and but there wasn't anything dirty about the play. It was just things like that happen in football. But we have to make sure that it is football from the snap to the whistle, and extracurricular stuff is not part of it, doesn't need to be a part of the game, and do everything we can to make sure instances like this never happen again.
Is it true that 2 of the coaches from that Junior Football League program have resigned? Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, 3 of them did. After the everything that came out on the social media, there was a lot of outcry, and justifiably so, from people wanting answers. And the league president had contacted Flora, and he wasn't happy about what had happened, and then nobody blamed him for that, and then he wanted some answers, and then basically told the program that they're going to put pressure on us to maybe take action, which didn't need to occur. And a lot of the teams on the schedule was very concerned about what happened and had basically canceled the games with us. Mm-hmm. And our coaches thought that it's their responsibility for things that happen. These kids are 12, 13, 14 years old. Ultimately, they're responsible for their actions, and they resigned and hope and the desire that the coach or the other teams would say, okay, so they have taken action. The coaches have been punished, and we'll go ahead and play the games and not punish the whole program. And that was their thought with resigning. So yes, the 3 coaches did resign. There's some volunteers that have been helping out that actually played for us at the high school level last year. So they were going to go ahead and take over the program. And I do believe Salem has agreed to play, and Newton has agreed to play. So those kids will get at least 2 more games this year. And there's a lot of pressure that's put on the lower programs, too. They, at one point in time, canceled all the 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th grade games. So I'm not exactly sure where they stand with those levels. I hope those kids, get to continue to play, but as of right now, I'm not sure how their status is right now.
So regardless of whether or not the player did the hit on his own or whether he was instructed to by a coach to try to jump the cadence of the snap, regardless of how it went down, the coaches have resigned and they're trying to move forward. Yeah,
and I'm not trying to dodge questions. I don't really know if it was on his own, if it was instructed. We had business to take care of with Casey this week, and sure, I talked to some people, and we tried to figure out things that would happen. One of the things that we wanted to make sure we did was we talked to the kid, and we talked to him about what had happened and what how his actions needed to be or how to change, and he was remorseful. He obviously didn't intend for anything to happen that did happen, but yeah, regardless of where the blame goes, the coaches are taking the blame and have resigned, and hoping that helps speed up the wound healing process.
Right. And do you know an update health-wise of how the young Mount Carmel boy is doing?
Yeah. I talked to his both of his parents earlier in the week to reach out to them and just let them know that it was something that we as a high school program didn't don't want to see happen. And I asked how he was doing, and he kind of recovered. I think there was some temporary paralysis that occurred as an initial shock to maybe a spinal cord, and wasn't able to move there initially last Saturday night. But now she said that he is moving well and walking, and basically just has like post-concussion symptoms now. So we're so grateful for the healing that's occurred there, and I know in Florida and as well as Mount Carmel and lots of places, a lot of prayers went up, and it's definitely something we like to think that God helped intervene in and help this kid recover. And like I told her, we hope that he continues to love a good game and continues to have a desire to play football, and we just hope nothing but the best for him and that whole family.
Yeah, well, and we hope that everybody on both sides learns from the situation too, which I think that they will. No doubt. Hey, let's jump back to your varsity football team. So 2-1 on the season. So now you go on the road next week to Lawrenceville, and Lawrenceville's a team that's struggling a little bit this year. So it's an opportunity for your Wolves to maybe notch another W there on the schedule and chance to improve to 3-1.
Yeah, last Saturday they played a Saturday game against Paris. So me and some of the coaches went over there to watch Lawrenceville. They suffer some of the things that like Casey does with the thin roster. There are about 22, 23, 24 players. So, but they're still going to be bigger than us. Their line up front's pretty big, and they've got a couple really nice weapons offensively, quarterback and running back. And it's a situation where I think on paper, we'd probably be the favorite to win. But you've always got to play well. It's a Saturday game, so you never know how your kids are going to react to just a little bit of a tweak of their schedule. But yeah, if we go over there and play well, it's a chance to be 3-1, and that's another nice start for us this year.
Absolutely. Well, Brian, we'll let you go. Appreciate your time this morning on the Sports Couch. Thanks so much, and again, congratulations on the win last night.
Thanks, Randy.
Okay, have a good weekend. All right.
You too.
Bye-bye. That is Brian Tackitt, the head football coach of the Flora Wolves, as they were winners last night over Casey Westfield. And, it's amazing. There was a time that nobody beat Casey Westfield, and now Flora has had their way with Casey the last 2 or maybe 3 years now. And it's amazing how times have changed and things have turned around up there at Casey Westfield. But Flora Wolves take advantage of the situation last night with their lower enrollment and lower numbers, and they win 34-7, and they'll go on the road to Lawrenceville next week to try to improve to 3-1. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about cross country with the Foxes and Lady Foxes and head coach Sam Wilson. We'll do that coming up next on the Sports Couch. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Hamilton County Flooring on the south side of the square in McLeansboro offers a full line of flooring, cabinets, and countertops for your home or business. Countertops or showers are available in granite, quartz, corian, custom marble, or ceramic tile. Their showroom includes a complete line of flooring available in ceramic tile, cork, bamboo, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and carpeting, including name brands such as Armstrong, Bruce, Marazzi, Mulligan, Shaw, and Tackitt. We thank Hamilton County Flooring in McLeansboro for their support.
Monthly financial support of local Christian radio is provided by Home Source Warehouse in Mount Vernon. Located 4 miles north of Mount Vernon on Route 37, Home Source Warehouse offers a warehouse full of quality furniture and mattresses with legendary service. Open Thursday and Friday 10 to 6, Saturday 10 to 3. You can find them on Facebook, and their website is homesourcewarehouse.net. Their phone number is 204-5515. Home Source Warehouse, where style is affordable.
Real Life Radio Foundation is blessed by the generosity of Monroe Accounting in McLeansboro. They specialize in a full line of accounting services for businesses, individuals, and farms, including tax preparation, payroll preparation, quarterly sales taxes, and more. Their office is located at 102 East Market Street in downtown McLeansboro with experience and knowledge to serve your needs. Their phone number is 643-3993. Monroe Accounting in McLeansboro, a proud supporter of 90.9 and 105.5 The Vine.
And welcome back to the Sports Couch. You're live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. Live video streaming at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WBYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio. Danny Ouncelman not with me today. He's on a combine somewhere trying to shell some more corn, trying to get that harvest done before the remnants of Hurricane Irma work their way up here to southern Illinois later this week. It's supposed to hit our area about Wednesday, it looks like. So, that could be a concern for some of the corn out there, because if we get any kind of wind at all, it could lay that stuff down. So, got to get as much of that out of there as you can, and that's what Danny's trying to do this morning. So, we're going to visit right now with the head coach of the Foxes and Lady Foxes cross-country team, and that is Sam Wilson. He joins us right now. Good morning, Sam. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. Good to have you on the Sports Couch. And I'll tell you what, your cross-country program has had a lot of success again this year. You got to be proud.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they did great. And, every single one of them has improved immensely since the beginning of the season. And we've got tons of numbers this year, so that helps too.
Well, that's what I was going to say right out of the gate was the numbers. I've got the team picture up on the screen right now, and both for the boys and the girls, you got some incredible numbers this year. In fact, your numbers are larger than Mount Vernon's numbers, which is a much bigger school.
Oh, yeah. It was neat. You never know what you're going to have. You hope you'll have a lot of the people that you coach in track and that have came out the year before and stuff coming back out, but you never know. And this year I think we had 12 boys that never ran before come out, and there's 3 or 4 girls, and that just makes things so nice. So you're not trying to scrunch and figure out how you can make enough numbers to have a team to compete.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for those people who are watching our live video stream right now on AreaSports.net, I've got a team picture up on the screen right now that was taken at Edwardsville, I believe, a recent invitational that you participated in over there, and you've got the Foxes green canopy tent there, and then you got the team pictured out in front. Tell me about that meet and how you did there.
Edwardsville, that's usually a pretty tough meet because there's tons of teams there. I think there was 43 teams. And we were on the boys, we were 16th. On the girls, we were 21st. So we had a few people have a little bit of a rough day on that one. But it's always a good way to start off because it's the hardest course that there is in southern Illinois. And once they get done with that, everything else is a little easier.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you want to run those tough courses, and you want to run against good competition. I mean, the tougher the competition, the better that's going to make you, is it not?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's tons of good competition up there. Usually that's one of the only times we get to see Freeburg, and Freeburg was number 2 in the state last year. So that's always a plus to see teams that are that good. And then we also had we got to see Pinckneyville, which always has a real good team. We got to see quite a few really good teams up there.
Well, I've also got a photo here of some of your Foxes and Lady Foxes that were medalists, and I believe it was at that meet, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. I think we had 6 people that medaled, maybe just 5.
Yeah, I've got 5 on the screen, 4 boys and 1 girl. Yeah.
Yeah, and our second place girl that day, she just barely missed it. So that's always a plus. They give out top 100 medals, but there's almost 500 people in each of the races. So, that's quite an accomplishment to be up there in that top 100.
Yeah, that's a real measuring tool whenever you can run in that prestigious meet over there at Edwardsville against that kind of competition. And if you can crack that top 100 over there, you're doing something.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, tell me about some of the other highlights of your cross-country season so far, Sam.
Really, the whole season, we've had a good season. Fairfield, the boys were 3rd, and I think the girls were 3rd as well. North City, the boys and the girls both won that meet. At Benton, the boys took 2nd, the girls took 3rd. And at West Frankfort, the boys took 2nd. We lost to Nashville by 2 points, and the girls took 4th behind Heron, DuQuoin, and Nashville. So, we've had good competition all year, and it's really helping push our guys. At the West Frankfort meet, between our number 1 runner and our number 7 runner, there is only 40 seconds worth of difference.
Wow.
So that's a tight group,
Yeah, that really is. Well, and cross-country is one of those sports where you got to be so self-motivated, too, to get out there and run and put in the work, because if you don't put in the work, you're not going to be able to do well when it comes meet time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I always tell my kids, if you're not putting in miles on the weekend, what you're doing during the week is still going to help you improve, but you're not going to improve anywhere close to what you could if you put in some miles on the weekend.
Sure. What's next on the schedule for your Foxes and Lady Foxes cross country?
North City Invitational is this Thursday, and then we go to the Olney Invitational on Saturday, and then we have the Harrisburg meet, which is just kind of a practice meet on the 19th, and then we have Freeburg on the 23rd of September. So we got some tough meets coming up. Olney is always tough. Tons of 2A schools there and 1As.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's another one to see kind of where we're at and see what we got going for us. And then we've never ran at Freeburg, but we wanted to see some of the competition over in that area. So that's why we got into that meet this year.
Well, good. That'll be a great challenge for you, like you say.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Awesome. Okay, Sam. Well, again, congratulations on the success you've had so far, and we appreciate you joining us this morning on the Sports Couch, and keep up the good work, and we'll talk to you down the line, okay?
All right. Sounds great. Thank you.
Take care. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sam Wilson, the head cross-country coach at Hamilton County for both the Foxes and Lady Foxes, and they're certainly enjoying some success this year and running in some tough meets against some tough competition. I'm telling you, that Edwardsville meet, thing is brutal. You got over 450 runners over there from, 43 schools? Yeah. And if you got 5 people that crack the top 100 in that, yeah, you're doing something. So that's pretty good. And got a tough invitational coming up at Olney, and then he's throwing the guys and the gals in the meet over there at Freeburg, too, which is great. That'll be a good challenge for him. So doing a good job there, and great numbers out for running cross-country in Hamilton County. You got to be impressed with those numbers, both the boys and the girls. That's really something. One more guest to go here on the Sports Couch. When we come back, we're going to talk to head coach Joe Clark of the El Dorado Eagles and get his perspective on El Dorado's loss to Cesar-Valliere last night. We'll do that when we come back here on the Sports Couch. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Prominent Technologies in McLeansboro is an underwriting supporter of The Vine. Chad May and Prominent Technologies specialize in computer and laptop repair, IT system upgrades, virus protection software, digital security camera installation, and on-location consulting. Prominent Technologies are computer problem solvers, and they have a long list of satisfied customers. Their phone number is 643-7114, and they are located just north of the square in McLeansboro.
Are you going out of town for a vacation or a weekend getaway? What are you going to do with your dog? That's easy. There's Jaggers Doggy Daycare in Mount Vernon. Jaggers Doggy Daycare is your one-stop shop for overnight dog boarding, doggy daycare, as well as dog grooming and obedience dog training. It's your dog's home away from home, and they will thrive, and they'll get one-on-one attention by a great staff. More information is available on the web at jaggersdoggydaycare.com. Jaggers Doggy Daycare, 414 Main Street in Mount Vernon.
Real Life Radio is thankful for the underwriting support of Jeff Donahoe Insurance Agency in Mount Vernon. Jeff Donahoe Insurance Agency has offered multi-peril crop insurance, providing revenue protection for farmers since 1978. They are located at 1121 Broadway in Mount Vernon. Their toll-free phone number is 866-276-7626. Jeff Donahoe Insurance Agency, the crop insurance specialist.
Yeah, welcome back to the Sports Couch. You're live on a Saturday morning at 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on both of our websites. Live video streaming at AreaSports.net and live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio. We're trying to make a connection here with Coach Joe Clark of the El Dorado Eagles. I know that they are trying to practice. They're probably watching game film right now. He told me that they would be. And he might have his phone on silent. I don't know. But we have called him, left a message, and sent a text message. So hopefully Joe will call us back and we can get him on the show this morning to get his perspective on the game last night, in which Cesar-Valliere defeated El Dorado by a score of 22-14. Cesar-Valliere led the entire game. And what was most impressive about that is the fact that the Red Devils were able to hold Jacob Traxler to 75 yards rushing and held El Dorado's complete offense to just 145 yards on the ground. And that's quite a feat because most teams have not been able to do that. Jacob Traxler has already verbally committed to play college football at SIU Carbondale, and so he's legit Division I back. And anybody who's seen him play football or basketball knows what a tractor-trailer physique he has. And in basketball, he certainly does too, as we've seen that firsthand, where he can dominate the paint with his size, and he's certainly doing that on the football field. But Cesar-Valliere, again, holding him to 75 yards rushing last night and slowing him down, as Coach John Shadowens said on our show earlier this morning. And Cesar-Valliere goes on to win at 22-14. So the Red Devils are now 3-0 on the season. And let's see here. We're going to try to call him back right now, as I just got another message from him. So let me try to call him back here while I got everybody joining us. Hold on here. Nothing like live radio, huh? Hey, Joe, hold on here. I'll patch you right through, okay? Just a second here. Yeah, all right, thanks. Okay, Joe Clark joins us right now, head coach of the El Dorado Eagles. How are you doing this morning, Joe?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh, just fine. Appreciate you joining us this morning. I know it's never fun to talk after a loss, but I appreciate your willingness to do so because I'm sure you're already looking at game film from last night and probably learning a lot about what may have taken place last night in your game against Cesar.
Yeah, it was a good ball game. Both teams made some plays. Both teams broke down a little bit at times, and it was a good game. I mean, obviously we're disappointed on our end, and there's some things that, from the coaching staff down to the players, that we could have did better, but, it's just part of it, and try to learn from it and continue moving forward.
Well, that's true, and you're 2-1 on the season, and still a lot of football left to be played, and you certainly have every chance to still be at the top of the standings here in the Black Diamond. There's still a lot of games to be played, and of course, still playoffs ahead as well. So I'm sure you are going to learn a lot from last night in ways that you can maybe tweak some things here and there and improve upon some things. But you were still right there on the doorstep last night. You had a late drive in that game that you fell just a yard or so short that it could have really turned things around, couldn't it?
Yeah, most close ball games like that with two decent teams come down to usually a handful of plays that go one way or the other. Sometimes it's things you can control. Sometimes it's things you can't control. And you kind of try to evaluate, obviously, every snap, but there's always 5 or so plays that lean one way or the other, and they got a few of them, and we didn't. And, like I said earlier, that's just the situation, and we'll try to be better people and be a better football team because of it.
Well, and you don't have much time to dwell on that game last night because you got to turn around and prepare for the Carmi Bulldogs. And, boy, they put some points up last night, too, as after losing in week number 1, they have bounced back, and last night they put 52 on Edwards County last night, so they're going to be a tough competition too.
Yeah, they're ready to go. They got a good football club. They get the box score of the Sesser game week 1. And week 1's always can be a little funny. When you're really trying to settle in with the game speed. They're a good football team. I'd say us, them, Sesser, are pretty evenly matched. So. What's the good news is, it's human nature when you have success to, maybe relax from a mental standpoint.
Be complacent, yeah.
Yeah. You get punched in the mouth like we did last night a little bit. It really forces you to focus your attention on some detail, and we'll be fine. And our kids and our leaders and our senior leadership and our coaching staff will bounce back fine. We'll be ready to go against Carmi. Should be another good game.
Well, the good thing is that it's at your place. Carmi's got to come to you, and so you've got them at your place, and that's going to make a difference, too, with your hometown crowd there.
Yeah, on the road, at home, all has its variables. The reality is when the ball snaps and the whistle blown, it's all the same game. So if we can just get our kids ready to go, to compete snap by snap, here in about 6 days or so, then we'll have some fun.
How did you come out of the game physically last night? Everybody healthy coming out of there last night, or anybody get injured?
I think we're in pretty good shape. I probably wouldn't air that laundry on the radio even if we weren't.
Sure.
But no, it was a physical game. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sure Chester's got some ice packs out too, but it was a physical game, and we're overall though we're in pretty good shape.
Well, I mean, you play a physical brand of football. There's no doubt about it. That's the type of football Laredo plays. So there's going to be some bumps and bruises probably on both sides of the line of scrimmage, I imagine.
Well, we hope so. To a certain degree, without obviously taking it to an injury level that costs you. But I mean, it's the nature of the sport. It's the physical sport, and we try to play a physical brand. And we did that at times last night, and just try to develop and get a little more consistency and survive and move forward.
Anything else about the scores last night surprise you any? It looks like Chester put up some points on Hamilton County last night, winning 41-22, and of course, Fairfield, they scored early and often against CZR.
Yeah, I think you're starting to see the league be able to shake out a little bit, kind of the different tiers, and you get a beat on some teams on where they're at, just developmentally, and that's for more you guys than it is me. We just look, for us, I should say, we just try to approach one game at a time, and next team on our schedule is the best team on our schedule, Carmi. So hopefully we can have a great week of preparation, and our kids have a great approach and be able to bounce back, which they already have. We've already ran and conditioned and lifted, and we got really a unique group of kids. They're just resilient bunch.
Well, when you got kids that are coachable and they have that work ethic, they're fun to coach, aren't they?
Exactly, and that's what we got, senior leadership all the way through, player-led program. Like I said earlier, disappointment is strong right now. But, I'm a true believer that human nature is kind of designed for adversity. You're seeing it probably down south in the way a lot of the people are responding across the country with some of the circumstances that are a lot bigger than a Friday night football game, I can assure you. It's our human nature to respond to difficulties and adversity, and hopefully I can coach that and train that, and we can learn from it and try to be better for it.
Yeah, adversity has a tendency to make you stronger, and you're exactly right. So, Coach, we appreciate your time this morning, and best of luck as you prepare for Carmine next week, okay?
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for having us on.
You bet. Have a good weekend. All righty.
You too.
Bye-bye. It's head coach Joe Clark of the El Dorado Eagles, and again, tough loss last night as they fall short to Cesar-Valliere 22-14. Yeah, El Dorado was driving late in that game and got down into the red zone there of Cesar-Valliere. In fact, it might have even been inside the 10. I'll have to go back and look, but I know they were late, deep into the field there, and big play. Cesar-Valliere was able to stop them a yard or so short, and that kind of was the difference in the ball game, because if El Dorado punches it in there and then gets a 2-point conversion and ties it up, you just never know where that game goes last night. So big play made defensively by Cesar-Valliere, as they are now 3-0 in the league, and so is the Fairfield Mules. Well, in college football today, you got some big games coming up. As you got Nebraska against Oregon today, you got Stanford against USC. Those are two ranked teams that will be in action today. Let me look at some other ones here that's going to be happening today. You got Wisconsin hosting Florida Atlantic. Wisconsin is ranked 9th in the country. Florida State at 10th. They'll take on Louisiana Monroe. Number 17, Louisville, travels to North Carolina. Number 8, Michigan, is at home against Cincinnati. Number 4, Penn State, is at home against Pitt. Number 16, Miami, on the road at Arkansas State. Number 1, Alabama, at home against Fresno State. Number 3, Clemson, at home against number 13, Auburn. That'll be a good matchup. Number 25, Tennessee takes on Indiana State. Number 24, Notre Dame, at home against number 15, Georgia. Number 7, Washington, at home against Montana. Number 2, Ohio State, at home against number 5, Oklahoma. That's probably the pick game of the day. Two top 5 ranked teams going at it there in Columbus in that battle. And among teams in the Big Ten today, you've got Michigan State at home against Western Michigan. You got Indiana on the road at Virginia. And you got Illinois, of course, at home against Western Kentucky. The Illini won last week. Can they make it 2 in a row? Well, we hope so, but we'll see. And we mentioned Wisconsin. We mentioned Michigan's game. Maryland is at home today against Towson State, and Northwestern is on the road at Duke. Purdue already played Ohio University, and Purdue won that game 44-21. Well, that's going to wrap up the Sports Couch. We appreciate everyone joining us this morning. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again to all of our coaches who joined us on the show, and, of course, our underwriting sponsors for making it all possible. Danny perhaps will join us back next week if he gets enough of the harvest done. If not, we'll be here one way or another, and hope that you are too, for 90 minutes of great local sports talk. It's the Sports Couch, live on 90.9 The Vine and on AreaSports.net. Have a great weekend, everyone, and stay safe out there.
This is your home for best Christian music.
WVYN, Bluefoot Wayne City, Fairfield, Mount Vernon.
Now on Translator, W288CO Centralia, broadcasting at 105.5.
A service of Real Life Radio Foundation.
The best Christian music, 90.9